As believers, it's really important to think about what we believe and why we do the things we do, especially in light of what the Bible teaches us. We live in a world where it's easy to mix our faith with things that aren't really part of it. Christmas time is a great example of this. So, we need to ask ourselves, are we really following the Bible, or are we doing things that don't have anything to do with it? In this video, we're going to look at what the prophet Jeremiah said, and see if celebrating Christmas might actually go against what we believe as believers. We'll learn about where Christmas traditions came from, and see if they fit with what the Bible teaches. Jeremiah chapter 10 verses 2-4 says, "This is what the Lord says, do not learn the ways of the nations or be terrified by signs in the heavens, though the nations are terrified by them. For the practices of the peoples are worthless. They cut a tree out of the forest and a craftsman shapes it with his chisel. They adorn it with silver and gold. They fasten it with hammer and nails so it will not totter." This passage warns us against adopting the customs and practices of other nations which can lead us away from true worship of God. It emphasizes the importance of staying true to our faith and not being swayed by the traditions of the world. In the book of Jeremiah chapter 10, God talks through the prophet Jeremiah to warn the Israelites about copying the customs of other religions. Jeremiah 10:2 says, "This is what the Lord says, do not learn the ways of the nations or be terrified by signs in the heavens, though the nations are terrified by them." This verse helps us understand how God feels when His people start acting like people who don't know Him. God specifically tells them not to follow the ways of other nations, which includes their religious practices and celebrations. Jeremiah chapter 51 goes on to show us why worshiping other gods is dangerous. Jeremiah 51:17-19 says, "Every man is senseless and without knowledge. Every goldsmith is shamed by his idols. His images are a fraud. They have no breath in them. They are worthless, the objects of mockery. At the time of their punishment, they will perish." This passage really emphasizes how empty and pointless it is to worship idols. They're just things that people made. God, speaking through Jeremiah, is making it crystal clear that He is the only one we should worship. Turning to idols will only lead to judgment and destruction. Section 4, December 25th, a connection to another religion. While the Bible doesn't say exactly when Jesus was born, history tells us that December 25th was when people celebrated the birth of a pagan god named Sol Invictus, who was also known as Mithras. This Roman holiday was all about the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, and it celebrated the sun's rebirth. The early church didn't celebrate Christmas, and it wasn't until the 4th century that December 25th became associated with Jesus' birth. This happened around the same time that the Roman Empire became Christian, probably as a way to mix pagan traditions into the new faith. Jeremiah 52:31 says, "In the 37th year of the exile of Jehoiakim king of Judah, in the year Awel-Marduk became king of Babylon, He released Jehoiakim king of Judah and freed him from prison on the 25th day of the 12th month." This verse highlights the significance of the 25th day of the 12th month in a different context, showing that this date has historical importance beyond its later association with Christmas. Section 5, Rethinking Christmas, a call to live out our faith. As believers, we are called to be in the world, but not of the world, just like it says in John 17:16. This means we need to think critically about our traditions, and make sure they line up with what the Bible teaches. Christmas has become a time for family and giving presents, but it's really important to remember where it came from, and think about if celebrating it lines up with what the Bible teaches. Jeremiah's warnings about paganism are a good reminder for us today. We need to be careful about mixing worldly traditions with our faith. Let's try our best to honor God in everything we do, asking for His guidance and wisdom as we live in our complex world.